What's up, guys? It's been the longest 6 weeks ever. I think this has been the longest break in between UFCs that I can remember. Normally there's a break usually around December, but never 6 weeks like this one. And here we are, we're back with UFC 324 to start the year. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this by now, but from now on, UFC, it's free on Paramount Plus. No more ESPN, no more pay-per-views. You just pay like $10 a month, and you get every single UFC for free. This is like the best news ever for those of us who are like big-time UFC fans. So yeah, UFC 324, great card to start the year, to start the Paramount Plus, and let's get to it. Main event, we got Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. It's crazy that the name Sarukian is not there, or the name Topuria is not there, and we got Gaethje and Pimblett. But I see it, I think on entertainment it makes sense, and I think the UFC wanted to put a card that was going to entertain people, and I think Gaethje and Pimblett bring that. Again, I think Sarukian versus either one of those would have been a better choice, but whatever. Let's see here. I have Paddy Pimblett winning this one by submission. It could also be a TKO, but I definitely think it would be a finish. But I'm leaning submission. I think round 3, eventually he gets Gaethje down to the ground, works around, passes the guard, and gets a submission. Paddy is coming from absolutely destroying Michael Chandler. The most one-sided beatdown that I've seen Chandler take, now that I can think of. Up until that point, Paddy had not won my respect, or I don't know what word to use, because I was like, who has he beat up until that point, right? Green, Ferguson, Jared Gordon, which a lot of people think he lost if you go watch that fight. Michael Chandler was finally the first fight where he fought someone who was ranked and who was decent, right? And he steamrolled over him. Like, if you go watch that fight, round 1 was competitive, was the most competitive round, but then round 2 was a one-sided beatdown, could have been a 10-8, and then round 3 was just a continuation from round 2, where he eventually got the TKO round 3. But it was as one-sided as it gets. I remember I picked Chandler to win that fight because I was like, who has Paddy beat? Gaethje is coming from beating Fiziev in the rematch, in a fight that was, round 1 was competitive. I mean, you can even argue Fiziev could have won round 1, and then 2 and 3, Gaethje took over. He pulled a decision. I think Fiziev took that fight on short notice. But yeah, Gaethje beat him. It was mostly a stand-up battle where just Gaethje did a little bit better. Before that, it was the Max Holloway fight about almost 2 years ago with Max Holloway, UFC 300. But it's been almost a year for Gaethje. It was March 2025. I think he was talking about retiring. I just don't think his head is there fully 100%. I will always give Gaethje a puncher's chance. As a fan, I would want Gaethje to win, and hopefully, he would get that knocked out. But just putting, being a fan or whatever, I just think Pimblett, it's gonna show that he's much superior. And then the only thing I always talk about, Pimblett is 31. You could argue he's in his prime, and you could argue he's gonna be better. Gaethje at 37. He's on the way out, 37 years old for a lightweight. But yeah, I think Pimblett does better in the stand-up, and I think he does better in the grappling, and eventually gets the submission. Before that, we have co-main event, Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. I have O'Malley winning this one by decision all day. Song Yadong is coming from pulling a decision against Henry Cejudo, but if you go watch that fight, Henry Cejudo made it very competitive. He made it extremely competitive. And this was the Cejudo that was coming from, I don't know, from being retired. Yeah, this was when Cejudo retired. He came back, and this was when he fought him. He had already fought him Bailishvili and whatnot, but this was the Cejudo that it was his second to last fight. This was the Cejudo that people were saying he should be retired. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. That he was way past his prime, not the same anymore. That Cejudo gave him a tough fight. Like if you go watch it, he had his moments. I think there were a round that people were arguing that they could have been 1-1 or whatnot, but I expected Song Yadong to dominate that fight. I remember, and he won, sure, but he didn't do anything that I think poses a threat to Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's coming from getting absolutely manhandled by Bailishvili twice. Lost by decision the first time, got submitted the second time after getting dominated. I think also round 1 he managed to make it competitive, but then rounds 2 and 3 it was all Bailishvili. Ground control, eventually submitted him. Sean O'Malley had nothing. I don't ever see O'Malley winning that belt again. I think he loses to Merab anytime. I think he loses to the Peter Yan that beat Merab. I think smokes Sean O'Malley. I think he loses to Usman Nurmagomedov. But not Song Yadong. I give Song Yadong a puncher's chance, but I think O'Malley pulls the decision 30-27. Not a beatdown, but he does enough to get the decision. Before that, we have heavyweights, Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. I have Waldo Cortez Acosta winning this one all day. I'll go ahead and say it. Of course, we're talking about Derek Lewis, so I'm always going to give him his well-deserved puncher's chance. If there's one thing that you know about Derek Lewis is he just needs one shot and it's over. And he can do it to anyone, including Waldo Acosta, right? If Derek Lewis goes out there, just throws a haymaker and he connects, he will knock the guy out, right? If that was to happen, will I be surprised? Of course not. That's what Derek Lewis does. But other than that haymaker puncher's chance, I think Waldo Acosta is just superior everywhere. I think his skills are better, faster, better cardio. And I have Cortez Acosta winning by TKO round 2. I think he goes there round 1, wins the stand-up, the exchanges. Eventually, Lewis slows down, and with the pressure of Waldo, he eventually, loses round 2, crumbles, whatever, breaks down round 2, and eventually Cortez gets the TKO. Huge puncher's chance by Derek Lewis, but I just don't see where else he's better. Do I think he's a better striker as far as skill? No. Faster? No. Better cardio? No. Is he going to grapple? No. He has that one puncher's chance ability that he can connect, but I don't count on those things. I don't like counting on haymakers, so give me Waldo Cortez Acosta by TKO, round 2. I had not prepared for the Natalia Silva versus Nama Yunus because I had focused my breakdown on Amanda Nunes and what was the name of the other girl that she was going to fight? Kyla Harrison. I was going to pick Harrison by decision. Unfortunately, Nunes pulled out, and women's MMA never goes the way I think it's going to go. So, and to open the card, we have Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva. I have Gene Silva by decision as well. John Silva, however, is coming from losing by TKO against Diego Lopez, where round 1 he gets absolutely destroyed. There were moments in that first round that I was like, this is about to get stopped. But he made it. He survived. I mean, that was a 10-8 round. A bit more serious. That would have been a 10-7, but dominant round for Diego Lopez. However, and then he loses by TKO round 2, right? Gene Silva does. However, if you go watch that fight, start to finish, round 2, John Silva was actually starting to take over. He was starting to land the big shots. Diego Lopez was not getting the takedowns. Silva was being the one with pressure, landing the big shots, and for moments they're hurting Diego Lopez to the point that I remember being like, okay, he's about to take over and get the TKO. I think I picked John Silva to win that one by TKO, and it seemed that he was gonna go that way, that he was gonna turn that fight around, but eventually he gets caught with the spinning back elbow, I think, that just knocked him out and put him away. Great fight, amazing fight. I think it won. I don't know if it won fight of the night, but it was a great fight. That again, yes, if you Wikipedia the results, you're gonna see Diego Lopez by TKO round 2. However, if you go watch it, it looked like John Silva was about to turn that fight around. Had that spinning elbow not happened, who knows how that fight would have played out. He's coming, anyways, he's fighting Arnold Allen, who's coming from beating Giga Chikadze by decision in a fight that I was not impressed with Arnold Allen. I think I picked him to finish Chikadze, who made a competitive fight up until he got tired. And that's when I thought Allen was going to finish him. But he never really was able to put a beating on Chikadze, who's known to gas. Yes, solid decision. What was it? I think it was 29. Yeah, I remember this. It was unanimous all across, 29-28, because that first round, you can give it to Chikadze. So that just shows you, and then Chikadze's not a bad guy or whatever, but I thought the victory by Allen was going to be much more significant. I have Jin Silva winning this one. It could be TKO. It could be. It could also be a decision. Arnold Allen has never been finished, so yeah, I'm not gonna count on that again. Jin Silva by decision. I just think he does more in the stand-up and eventually gets the decision. Let's see. I got Umar Nurmagomedov by submission. I think he submits Davidson Figueiredo rounds 2 or 3. I don't see where Figueiredo can do anything to Nurmagomedov. I mean, Atiba Gauthier, for those of you who know who that guy is, he's going to win by knockout round 1, probably under a minute. He's like the middleweight Francis Ngannou. My upset for this Saturday is Michael Johnson. At least last time I checked, he was the underdog. I think he beats Alex Hernandez. Could even be a TKO. I think he has the striking, the skill, the knowledge, the experience to beat Alexander Hernandez. Could be a decision, could be a TKO. Krylov, I mean, I have Bukauskas by KO. I don't remember much the ones I watch about this. But anyways, guys, that's it. I have a Paddy Pimblett by submission round 3. It could also be a TKO like he did Chandler. The same way, takes it down and then puts a beating. But I'm going to go with submission. I have Sean O'Malley by decision. I have Waldo Cortez Acosta by TKO round 2. Huge puncher's chance for Derek Lewis, like always. I have John Silva by decision. Umar Nurmagomedov by submission. Gautier by knockout. Bukauskas by knockout. Michael Johnson by decision. Or a TKO. And that's my upset for the night. All right, guys. Have a good one.